Hey guys, this is Mark, and today we are going to look at the Anycubic Photon S, first miniature slicing and print. I'll show you how to prepare the model with supports in the built-in Anycubic Photon program, which you can see right here. This is software that comes with the Anycubic Photon S. I'll also show you how to clean the print after it's done printing. And as a bonus at the end, we'll clean out the printer and clear all the resin back out of that vat and pour it through a strainer, put it back into the bottle, and I'll show you how I did that. So as you can see right here, what I'm doing is I'm taking a STL file from Miguel Zavala, which I'm going to link to in my comments here. And I'm sorry, Miguel Zavala. And I have one of his models here, and I am positioning it right now on the plate where I want it. On this one, I decided to just do it up and down horizontally. And a lot of people are saying that setting it at a 45 backwards is better. And we'll do that next time to see how that goes. So as you can see right here, I'm kind of going through the different settings. We're going to use light auto supports on this model. It's a little 28 millimeter mini, so there's not a whole lot to it. What you can see right here, I just hit the light supports, auto support, and I also hit fill over on the right there in the bottom. That adds supports throughout the middle of the model, not just on the bottom. I hit fill. What I'm going to do is take a look at it now, and I'm looking for islands where there's low points that aren't supported, the bottom of that jaw there. And so what I'll do is I'll go in here and I'll manually add in supports where I'm finding the islands. You can see, like I said, this is a very small little miniature, but if you want a successful model, you're going to want to add these supports. So you just click right on the add manual supports and look for spots on the model where you might get a little sag, low points there, or islands. And I'm just going to add some supports here onto the model to make sure it prints right. It might print without them, but I want to improve my chances of having a successful print here. So that's what I'm working with right here. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to find different spots that I need to add supports. It's looking pretty good here. Back on the back here, there's a little island on the back of this spear, and put another support out towards the end here at the low point also. I'm just learning this right now, so if you see me doing something wrong here, please comment. I mean, obviously a lot of people don't want to use auto supports for supporting their models, but being a newbie here, and this being my second print, I'm going to take advantage of the auto support functions and just add some more supports, all the supports that I need to get a successful print. So not real sure how this is going to turn out as far as it seems like there's a lot of supports that are in between parts of this model that we're going to have to cut out at the end. I hope that we don't break the model in the process, but we're gonna go through this. So stay with us. We're going to show you the process after I get this. I'll show you how I take it out to the printer and we print it, and then how we process the print when it's finished. Also how we, at the end of the video, I have a short section about actually cleaning the vat out of resin, straightening that back into the bottle. Some very helpful techniques here that I've learned from a number of other people online by watching their videos here and what they've been doing on the Photon. So as you can see here, what I'm doing right now is I'm just saving the support file. So if I want to go back and print this again, I can just take and slice run it through the slicer after this support file, and I don't have to go back and add all the supports again if this turns out to be a successful print. And I like the way it was positioned, then that just cuts a step out. And so as you can see here, we're pretty close to done here. And then so once you have it there, we'll just click over here back on that gear on the top right, slice settings, and then we'll just click on the slice button, figure out where we want to place that slice file after it's done, the photon file. And then we'll just slice this file up, and it'll turn it into a photon file that you can put on a thumb drive. You'll just take it after it's completed, you'll put it on the thumb drive, and then you'll just click that right into the side of the photon, which I'll show you next. And it should transfer really well right onto the photon. So stick with me. We'll print this out and see how it comes out. This is the second print on the Photon Anycubic Photon S, and I've been impressed so far. Okay, we are back now. It took most of the night to get some files together, get them ready to print. But what we're going to do now is we're going to check our print levels here. Make sure our bed's filled up to where it needs to be. And I finally got a print on here. We're going to print a cat fighter, actually. And it looks like we need to add maybe a little bit more resin to our bed here. So what we'll do is we'll take and we'll add a little bit of resin to the bed here. And I'm kind of worried that we might, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this out. First I'm going to put on some gloves, and we're going to check that vat. I want to make sure I don't have anything down in the bottom of the vat that's going to cause us problems, especially anything hard when we go to print. We printed up the test print yesterday on this, and it seemed to print perfectly, but I hate to have anything stuck down in there. And so let's check this out here, see where we're at. So I'm going to loosen up these screws on each side. Then I'm going to pop this up like that, pull it off, and it looks like we are good in there. Hard to exactly see where that level is. We need to set this resin at when it's sitting, and it already has resin in it. We're going to slide this right back. Like I said, we had printed on here yesterday, last night, and got a good print out of this, our first print. And so today we're going to run a little test, the Anycubic. We'll run the Anycubic Photon S first actual print. So I'm going to take a little bit more of this resin here and just anticipate what we had used yesterday, just a little bit there. I'm mixing up the, kind of giving it a little shake here, and I'm going to add a little bit of that in there and try and get it back to that level it was at when we started. That looks good right there. And you want to be sure not to get any of this on you or on anything else. And so we've added a little bit of resin there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to turn this printer on. I'm going to close this back up here. We have the file, the cat fighter that we downloaded. I spent most of the night trying to figure out how to support the fighter. It's a miniature off of Shapeways, and I think what we ended up with is that I tried to record the screen when I was filming it, but the problem we ended up with was that the recording kept messing up, and that was my first time, so I'll try and get better on that. So what I've done now is I've put that little SD card in the side here, or the thumb drive, and so we're going to hit print, and right there is my print, and you can see it right there, the cat fighter with the support on it. And we cross our fingers and give it a whirl here. So this will be our second print. Here's our first print that we printed right here. The test cube turned out really well, and so we're going to try and actually print a miniature now, and hopefully this turns out as well. And we will run this now. And so it's dropping on the Z here, and hopefully we turn out with a nice print. In the morning we could come back here, I'll record again, and we will see what we ended up with. We're on this journey together. Like I said, we'll go through here and we'll print out. This is the Anycubic Photon S, our first miniature print, and we will print these together, and we'll probably fail together, and we'll have some successes together. And so let's shoot for the successes right now. And it looks like right where we need to be, just about, with the levels. And so it's burning our bottom layer right now. Looks like the resin is just about right level in there. It's not too high. We came real close there. I don't think I'll do that again. I think what I want to do is make sure that we clean out the vat. So I'll probably do that tomorrow night, and I'll show you guys how I do that. I'll clean out the vat, empty it, strain it back into our container, and then we'll go from there. And hopefully this print ends up well. And I'm not showing you how to clean a failed print off of the FEP or the FEP. Alright, have a good night. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see what we have in the morning. Hey guys, this is Mark, back out here in the garage. We're making the Anycubic Photon S first slicing and miniature print. Let's see how it turned out. Let's take a look real fast. We'll open this guy up. It's looking good so far. I'm excited about that. Let's take a look. Really hard to try and see what's going on, but I don't see any obvious problems so far. So let's take this guy. I'll set this camera up here on the tripod, and then we will take this guy out and we'll put it in the alcohol and see what we can do, clean this one up. Alright, we're back. We are getting ready to take our first miniature print off of the bed here and stick it in alcohol and clean it. And we're going to do the best job we possibly can. First time I've done this as far as the miniature, and it has a lot of delicate little parts to it, so hopefully we don't break anything. Hopefully if we do, we can fake it by adding something else back to it, or some magical thing like that. So sorry the camera's so far off here. It's a little bit back, and the mic is, but I wanted to get leave some room. I'm putting safety gloves on, putting some safety glasses on. Here is a pickle jar with some alcohol in it. I have 91%. Everybody's saying 99, so I hope that doesn't matter or affect it, but we'll see how it works. 91% alcohol. Remove the microphone down off there so it doesn't pick up the table. Have a spatula, rigid spatula right here, a old crusty pair of needle nose. That should work. We're also going to clean out this little tank here. I have these little rubber squeegees that the guys over at 3D Farm hooked me up to, so we can 3D Printer Farm. They put some links on a video that I linked to on my first unboxing video, which I will put into this video, the link to it, so you can go there and get all your links for the squeegees, the some of these items that are here. This little spinner for the display, solar display. But anyways, let's get started. Keep rambling on here. So I just have, like I said, a pickle jar with some alcohol in there, and we're going to take this guy off. I also picked up at the local Home Depot some of these little paint trays, which I thought might work perfect for protecting everything from the resin. So right here it says print has finished, which you've seen the print from the last model. It looks like it's sitting on the plate pretty well. The print is finished, so I'm just going to press enter here, and I'm going to take myself back by hitting back to the first menu, and then I'm going to pull out this thumb drive here and put it in a safe spot away from here, which I'm sure it might be fine in there, but I'm going to pull it off anyways and put it in my pocket. Then I think I'm actually going to, I'll just leave the printer on while I do this. Unless somebody wants to comment and tell me that's not a smart idea, I'll leave it on for now. And so we're going to pull this build plate off. Let me move this paint tray around in case it leaks a little bit. It's a messy resin. We'll loosen up the build plate screw, which seems to have been pretty loose there, and we'll just pull this right off. And hard to see these minis when they're in the clear here, so we'll have to actually get it all cleaned up. And I have a macro lens for my phone, so hopefully we can get a good look at the detail on it. So right now I'm just going to clean some basic resin off the top of the build plate, and that should just help to keep it clean while we're working on it here. And so you want to be real good about this resin, where it goes, where it ends up. It's super toxic and nothing to mess around with. So we're going to wipe that off. Let me set it here, and I'm going to get everything going again in this little cardboard box. So if it stays within the paint tray here, I think, and just this little empty cardboard box that I have here, I think, and then goes right into the trash. Once it's in a solid format, I think we'll be okay. So looking at this, one of my big concerns here, and let me get it over a little bit closer so you can take a look at it, is I'm noticing right now that a couple of these supports are supporting really delicate areas of the model. And so with that, you can see like the spear here on this guy, it's supported in the front and back, and taking this off of this plate, I hope I don't damage the spear. So what I'm going to try and do is just hit it with this. Whoops. Pick that up. Let me hit this with the spatula here and see if I can start getting a little clean break off of the plate, making sure I do not damage this plate. Another thing I'm going to loosen. You know what? I think I'm going to get these are the flush cutters, side cutters. I'm going to clean this one off right here on the plate, so the force of popping that little support off of the plate doesn't break it when I take it off. And there it goes. Just put that little piece right here. I'll put it in my box. And then I'm going to now missed it, but it looks like, there we go. So it's in the alcohol right there. I'm going to grab the paper towel. I'm going to wipe off the rest of the build plate here real fast as a starting point. Move the spatula around. I'm going to dip the tip of this spatula right here inside of the alcohol so it can help me get off some of that resin that's on the tip of this thing. Always good to keep all your tools, I think, super clean in this format here. Sorry about that, I had a little bit of normal life stuff. So what I have now is the model is sitting inside of the pickle jar here, and I'm just picking it up and kind of getting it moved around, cleaning off some of this wet resin. So you don't want the resin, like just loose resin, to be on your model there. This still has the supports on it, but what I want to do is, what I've seen other people do, which seems to work well, is they first clean the model real well, which I'll do by just kind of agitating this in the alcohol for 5 to 10 minutes. I'm not sure the exact time. If somebody wants to put some links on the comments on this video, letting me know maybe some good structure to the time of the alcohol on a little miniature like this. This is a standard 28mm little, I don't know, Dungeons and Dragons or something type miniature. I'm thinking 5 minutes should be plenty agitated, and then I will take this out, and I like to rinse it off in water, rinse the alcohol off so it quits doing whatever it's doing to clean the solvent, so it doesn't break down the integrity of the model itself. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to leave this. I'm going to go grab a bowl real fast with some regular water in it so I can rinse this off after it sits for about 5 minutes. Let me pause the video and I will come back. So I'm back. I had ordered one of these the other day. It's the same pickle tray. It says pickle tray. It's on Amazon by Lock and Lock, it says on the top. I'm not sure. There's a link on one of my videos to this. And so anyways, this will work fine with some water in it. Have my regular drinking water here. And I'm just going to pour this about halfway. And this will be some regular water just to get the alcohol off of my print here. So let's agitate that print a little bit more. It should be getting pretty good now. So I printed this one. I don't, for anybody that's wondering, I printed this standing straight up. It was pulling pretty hard against the FEP when it was popping off on the first layers in the bottom, and so I'm not sure if that's the best model. We'll see how this model comes out, and we'll try the next models, I think, at a 45-degree angle on the back. I didn't slice it with I tried playing with it in mesh mixer, and you know what, I thought I would just go straight with the models here and use the support systems on the Photon S, and then when we start running into troubles with these models, then hopefully you guys can help me walk through that if we start having some failures at all. This is getting close, I think, now. If we start having some failures, we'll figure out how to slice it with maybe some other mesh mixer, or there's plenty of different blenders. Kira, well, I don't know if Kira will even work for this, but something to maybe a different way to add supports and fix the models if we have any problems with cups or triangles. So okay, so I'm going to take this guy out now, and we'll, with my pliers, and this is looking really pretty cool. I think what I'll do now, just shake it around a little bit with the pliers, and And then I'll get it over here into this water and give it a good dip. And this is just plain water in here. And I'll take and do this. Just get the water all over. I want to get all that alcohol off of this guy as well as possible, so it's not still eating away at any of my resin of the print itself. I don't want to take away any of the sharper edges on the model that might help with the detail. So what I'm going to do real fast while that's sitting in the water is I'm going to just take these touchscreen wipes. I think I bought these off of Amazon also. And they're just alcohol wipes that you use to clean your phones or TV monitors, computer monitors, whatever. But they're alcohol wipes, and so I'm going to take that and I'm just going to give this my build plate here a good cleaning and just get all of in these little cracks around here really nicely. And I'm going to just really get in there and clean off this build plate. So one place I noticed, which I didn't like too much, but I don't have any say in it, is between there's two pieces of metal, the build plate, and then there's one here that has the 4 Allen bolts going through it to the build plate that attaches. I don't know, somehow the ball, there's a very smart little ball in here that's for leveling of the bed. Anyways, these two pieces of metal, there's a crack between them, and the resin comes up right to that edge there, and so I was worried a little bit that maybe we'd have some issues with the resin building up there or something, but I don't see it yet. We'll figure it out together. So what I'm doing here is I'm just cleaning it off. It looks pretty good now. And then I'm going to, I don't want anything to happen to this while it's out of the machine, so I'm going to get it back into my machine here, tighten it down, and so now it's there. Another thing I think I'll do is turn this guy off for right now and close it up. So let's just close this up. It's got a clean build plate in there. We're going to pull out the tray here in a minute. We're going to empty that, and so right now I'm going to close up the alcohol, and I'm going to just store this away over here next to the rest of my alcohol and my other resins. Then let's take this, and you can see it, the model's right down in there, and I'm just going to clean this off a little bit better now. I don't want any more alcohol. I think it's pretty good now. And then I will take, and what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to set this over in this tray so I don't make a big mess on the table. Always trying to keep stuff as clean as possible while I'm moving along here, one at a time. Kind of like when you're cooking dinner or something and you clean after yourself, you don't end up with a giant mess anywhere. And when you're in the shop, you want to keep everything clean. That's what I've learned anyway. So, okay, I'm going to take this guy out now, and I'm going to put this print right over here on the paper towels. And so this print is not cured yet. It still needs to go through some UV lighting. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to let this dry off. We'll see if this works. This is my method. I really haven't found anybody putting anything out about the procedure for the Photon S yet. I'm sure it's very similar to the Photon, but I'm learning as I go here. So we're going to close the water up. I'm going to put the water right over on my workstation here. I'm going to let this sit in here and dry out, and then it's well, it's 9:52 right now on Friday night, the 5th, and it's 64 degrees out, or 56 rather, sorry, 64 inside the house, 56 outside here in Central California. So I'm going to finish this up, and then In the morning, we'll get this set out on the solar display out in the sun, if it's sunny tomorrow, hopefully. I don't have a UV box set up yet. You just end up buying a lot of stuff as you go here, but I'm going to set a UV box up. I'll also link to the first initial setup at the end of this video so you guys can see that. It seems like the Photon S, the Anycubic Photon S, made a pretty good first print here for a miniature. I can't see it super well because it's so detailed, but what I'm going to do is after I clean it tomorrow, we'll get set up on a macro lens and I'll try and get real close up on this, and I'll put it in the next short video that you can take a look at to see this. So thanks for joining me. Please subscribe so people know where I'm at and they can see this and they can get to the Photon S video better. And then also click the notifications so you can follow me as we do more intricate and stronger prints, more detailed stuff. If you have something you want to see printed on the Photon S that was challenging for the Photon itself, let me know on that, and I'll see what I can do about that, as long as it's not too giant, because I have one more of these cans of resin and then I'll have to buy some. So I have to buy some anyways, but thanks for joining us. Have a great night. Follow, comment, share, click notifications, yell my name out your windows, join me at the park. Have a good night. Alright, so I decided that before I start cutting all these supports off, I want to do the best job I can at letting everybody take a look at this model in case I do a bad job cutting supports off and I end up chopping it all to pieces. So let's see what we can see. We've put this thing through some alcohol, and now it's in a it hasn't been cured yet, but I have this little macro lens here, and we're taking a look at what it looks like before the supports come off. It looks pretty good. I'm not sure how much detail is in the face there. The spear looks really good. It's nice and straight. It looks like some of the shield, it looks really good. Yeah, you can see a lot of detail in the shield, so the cape. Alright, well, this is really the best job I could do at letting you guys take a look at this before I take it. Oh yeah, the face has some good detail. The head. This is going to look really good once I cut it apart here. I think we're going to see a lot of detail in this model. Probably a lot more even once we get some gray primer or some primer of some sort on it. So, alright, I will put it on out in the sun tomorrow for a little while when the sun comes out, and then I'll clean it up and get it back on here so you can see what it looks like. Thanks again. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to clean out that tank. We're going to strain that resin back into the container, into the resin jar through a strainer we have. I'll show you how to do that. Then I'll show you how to with a squeegee. Then something I learned from the guys over at 3D Print Farm. Then what I'll do is I will take and clean that up real good with some wipes and get it ready for the next print, or ready to fill back up and then print. So let's start out real fast by putting our tools together. Let's get our safety equipment on. I have my goggles, and so we will be cleaning out the tank on the Anycubic Photon S. So let's put our goggles on. Our goggles, our gloves. We're going to take this wonderful paint tray, the bottom little plastic paint tray. I think you can get a 3-pack at Home Depot or any hardware store for a couple bucks. And I've started using that because I think it's probably going to help me keep from getting stuff on my workbench. So and on everything else. So what I'm going to do first is open the Anycubic Photon S up, and I'll just set it right there, and I'm going to loosen up the screws that are holding this tray down here. I'm going to pop up from the back, pop up from the front to kind of unclick it off of that bed. I'm going to slide it right out, and I'm just going to set it right here inside of this paint tray. So next thing I want to do is I want to get my container over here. This is the one that came with the printer, Anycubic green, 250 grams, milligrams, I'm not sure what that's all about there. So it's a small bottle. And then what I'm going to do is these squeegees here, we'll see how they work. They look like they work real well. These are just rubber squeegees, and they got a real soft rubber tip on them, and they seem to work good in some other videos that I saw online. So I ordered these off the links that I keep saying 3D Print Farm. You'd think I work with those guys, but they had a bunch of good videos on the Anycubic Photon, and so I'm just kind of using best practices for the Anycubic Photon S that they had taught. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but it's a really nice rubber squeegee, and we're going to use it to just push that resin right back in here. One thing we want to do first is we want to grab a funnel to strain through. So these are just the blue funnels here. TCP Global is the name, 190 microns. And so one trick I heard from a couple people online is when you're pouring this stuff out, so a lot of people set up jigs to hold this above this, and then they set the tray on the jig. It pours out over time. We're going to try and get it out a little quicker than that through this. What I'm missing here is a little funnel, and hopefully we don't end up with a lot of this resin on the tray. I'm going to pause, and I'm going to try and find a little funnel. I don't want to lose a lot of this resin, as it's not real inexpensive. So I'm back. So I couldn't find a funnel, but what I did find is a plastic water bottle. So I'm just going to cut that and make it into a funnel real fast, and then we'll clear out this vat. So this funnel, I know it's totally ghetto, but it's worked 100 million times for me dirt biking in the desert when I've needed to transfer fuel. So we're going to take this tray here full of resin. We're just going to dump it right in the top of this guy here, and we're going to do it real slowly so it has time to work its way down into the jar. Purpose behind this is just to get it through a screen and filtered in case there's any hard pieces of resin that you can't see in there, because this resin, this clear resin, I think a lot of the resins, it's really hard to actually see if there's something hard in it or gooey or any kind of something that's contaminated your resin that you don't want to put back in that resin jar of yours. You want that resin jar of yours to be pristine. So we're just taking this here, dumping it slowly back into the bottle, and once we get the majority of that, then we'll take this nice little rubber squeegee and we'll squeegee it down back into this bottle. And then I will take some alcohol wipes and wipe this whole tray out really good before I put the vat back inside of the printer. I'll also clean off the display it looks really clean, but I'll clean it off with a little alcohol screen wipe and then a microfiber cloth. So as you can see here, most of it's dripped out now, so I'm just going to take this squeegee and squeegee what's left in there. Nice and soft. Squeegee it right down to the bottom, Yeah, that's working really well to get everything out of there. Kudos to 3D Print Farm. Those guys are on their game. So we'll just get this right off here with this squeegee. And then I'll go through and I'll clean this out nicely with alcohol wipes and then a microfiber cloth. You do not want to scratch up this FEP plastic on the bottom here, as you'll have a pretty healthy problem printing after that. So I'm just going to set this here for now, and I'm going to grab the wipes. So the funny part of this, I'm going to wipe off the outside of this, not the plastic, but that outside of this here with a paper towel, just to get some of the resin that had spilled over the edge. And then I'm just going to set this on here. Wipe off this. So I'm going to clean all these tools, this squeegee with alcohol wipes, everything that I've touched I'm going to clean with an alcohol wipe. And that'll allow me to keep a pretty clean environment here. So here is the alcohol wipes. And then I'm going to set this microfiber cloth right down here, and then after I'm done wiping out this tray with these wipes, I'm going to set that right on there. So here's the alcohol wipes. I'm just going to work through here and try and get all the resin out of this guy. Get it nice and clean. I don't want to have resin on the outside, around the bottom, and especially on the bottom, because you're going to set this thing down here, set it down, then you're going to put it back inside the printer, and so you want to keep all that nice and this plastic here nice and cleaned out, and that'll allow you to not have any contaminations when you go to put your next resin in here and get your next prints rocking. So let me grab another one of these guys. And these alcohol wipes are just, they're called dust off touchscreen wipes. And they might not be the best thing in the world, but they're working pretty well for me. So if you have a better suggestion, please holler out. I'm always open to ideas and suggestions. So here we go. We're getting this cleaned off. Taking this down in here. I don't want to push against this FEP plastic, this film, too much. I don't want to try and change the tolerances. It's been printing really nicely, I think, so far for me, so no reason to do that. Let's take a look at what we have here. So I'm looking, it looks pretty good. It's a little cloudy, so I will try and see if this cloth here, this micro cloth, gets it a little cleaner for me. Microfiber cloth. You do not want to get resin on the bottom of this thing. You do not want to. All right. I'm going to put this back. It looks really clean. I'm going to put it back in my machine, close my machine down and store it. I'm going to clean this whole mess out. I'm going to close up my resin here after this drips down in there, and then I'm going to dispose of all this. What I'll do is I'll set all this stuff that's still wet with resin out, let the sun hit it all day tomorrow, and then it should dry out, and then it'll be okay to dispose of. Right in the trash. In the hardened format, you can put this right in the trash. You don't want to put it in the trash if it's still in the liquid format at all. So, have a good night. Thanks a lot for joining me tonight. I hope this helped out a little bit. Put some more links inside our comments. Please tell me what you'd like to see me print next. Join me on this journey. It's kind of been amazing. I know I sound a little crazy. It's 1 o'clock in the morning and I got to go to bed. But subscribe, click the notification bell, comment, and if you want to see something printed, shoot me over something in the comments. Let me know what you think. Also, tell me if you have any suggestions on how I can do a better job. And I'll put some high-res pics of this model after I clean it up in the comments on this, or I'll link to them in YouTube somehow. So thanks a lot, guys. Have a great night.